Hi again. Um, yeah, I'm grappling today with ideas of guilt and judgment because I feel like I've gone for as long as I can remember. I call it the black cloud of constant let me try again. The black cloud of constant obligations. Um, just the sense that whatever I'm doing, it's wrong. Whatever I'm doing, it's either I need to be doing something else, or if I'm doing the thing I'm supposed to be doing, I feel kind of resentful about it. And it just the result is you never feel settled. You never feel like what you're doing is okay, is good enough. Um, so yeah, I sat down today to meditate. And I mean, that was the feeling that came up is just like, no, you can't meditate. You're supposed to be doing XYZ. And it's like I literally cleared my to-do list for today because I'm doing an experiment where I see, at any given moment, what do I actually feel like doing? Like, what do I not feel obligated to do? What's coming from within as much as possible? And what came from within is okay. I feel like I need to meditate. I feel like there's some strong stuff coming up. There's some strong energetic sensations in my body and it wants expression. It doesn't want to, it doesn't want me to go distracted. It doesn't want me um, to find a way to run away from it. It wants me to go right to it. And it's ironic because the feeling is I should be doing something else. There's always something else. There's always something I could be missing. There's always something. It's almost like there's some monitor somewhere, and if I screw it up, if I don't do it right, then I'm a bad person or something. I don't know. It seems very primitive and kind of silly when you put it into words, which often these patterns do. Um, but yeah, the sense that I always should be doing something else. I always should be somewhere else. I'm right here. I felt like doing this video, so I did that. Just as a way to kind of, muddle through all of this. It's a little bit less writing these days feels like it just takes too long. It's almost like by the time I finish a sentence, the thought has already moved on. So this sort of doing it like talking to myself in real time seems to be helpful. And also because it's like there's nowhere to hide because I don't know who might be watching this. Maybe nobody, maybe random people, maybe one person in Singapore. I don't know, like the very possibility that somebody could see this holds me accountable in a way because how ridiculous do I want to let myself be? Not ridiculous in, I mean, ridiculous in the sense of just going like behaving according to patterns that might have been laid down when I was a toddler, you know? And when I say it out loud in a forum where it's essentially public, even though not very public yet, probably, um, yeah, I can't get away with as much. I have to sort of not censor myself. I'll say whatever I want to say, even if it's ridiculous. But then I have to be like, okay, what did I just say? Is that I just said that. I said it out loud. I can't hide it. I can't pretend it's not there. So anyway, yes, this feeling constantly that I need to be somewhere else. I need to be doing something else. I can't rest. I need to be fighting this genocide or educating myself about that famine or cleaning the house, which at some point you should do. Okay, so here's kind of the thing I was thinking about. At certain points of both individual and collective human evolution, behaving without judgment or guilt can be dangerous or even psychopathic. So, you know, you have to hold limits around toddlers because they will run in front of traffic. They will break glass and then try to play in it. I mean, you need some discernment um, in that case. And collectively, there's plenty of people who, if they just do what they feel like, maybe that's raping and robbing and, murder. Maybe there need to be some constraints on that too. But this feels like a different phase, like a different yeah, like a phase shift. Like I'm past the point where I want to rape and murder and break glass and play in it. Maybe at this point I can trust what I feel like doing. How do I know? Do I just declare myself fully grown enough? Because I mean, I talked in the last video about how I don't know where my thoughts come from. I also don't know where my gut feelings come from. I don't know where my heart feelings come from. I don't know anything, and I have to live anyway. And, some of this is going to sound heretical to certain people, in some cases for good reasons. People say like, "Oh, we're partially responsible for this genocide. We have to fight it constantly every day all the time. But we also need to do self-care so that we're not burned out." But I have no idea how to stop this genocide. I'm just going to be honest. I don't know what's going to work. I don't know if anything's going to work. That's not an excuse to just stop, give up. Okay, well, people who aren't as privileged as me, good luck to them. Just sucks to be them. That's the roll of the dice they got in this incarnation, and it's not my business. Basically, am I my brother's keeper or not? Well, I didn't murder them. I didn't commit the genocide. I didn't start any of this in motion. I didn't invent human nature. I do pay taxes. I could refuse to pay taxes, like Henry David Thoreau did. Of course, he didn't have kids, and somebody bailed him out. But he still he the end result is an incredible piece of writing that has inspired some of the most important people in modern history. I'm not Henry Thoreau. I can't copycat Henry David Thoreau. I mean, I can, but what's my place? What can I do? I think I read something about Van Gogh or somebody, maybe it was Monet, hearing about the horrors, the atrocities, the gas chambers, everything happening during World War II. And he immediately went and started painting. The idea that we need art to both show that life is worthwhile and make life worthwhile. He could have gone and joined one side or the other side. He could have joined this resistance or that resistance. Like George Orwell did in the Spanish Civil War. And again, that resulted in writing that has lived far longer than George Orwell did. So people have a place. People have a inclination. People have talents. People have, yeah, impulses. And if your impulse is to awaken, that's a big piece of guilt, energetics coming through. How dare I awaken? How dare I Focus inward. How dare I take this exquisite opportunity? When so many things, so many people need help. And again, it's not like I'm not helping people. I've done a lot. I've given a lot. I'm going to continue to. But there's also this. There's also time, energy. On this. But it's almost like I don't have a choice. If I run away from this, it's not going to work. It's not going to work out in any way. I have all respect for the activists who put themselves on the line and in some cases pay the price. Is that going to move the needle? I don't know. I don't know. I admire it, but I don't know. I don't know what I don't know. I wrote a book on that subject. Is that going to move the needle? My book is more of a passive is not the word, but it's more, it really tried to be a kind, peaceful way to change hearts and minds. Not pulling too many punches because there's some devastating stuff in there for sure. But it wasn't trying to fight injustice. It was trying to just show what's happening in plain language with, where's my, hold on. Yeah, in plain language of narrative, characters, my thoughts and struggles as a young adult trying to come to terms with the world. I don't think anybody understands, but it's just brutal and awful in so many ways as far as the human political element, and spectacular and fun and funny and gorgeous in so many other ways too that I never expected. So trying to just, here's an offering. I can't make you read it, but it's an offering. And the novel that I'm writing is an offering of my struggle since then to make sense of the world, make sense of being human. Is that going to move any needles? Am I supposed to move any needles? Does it matter if we move any needles? I don't know anything. In the Tao Te Ching, it says, elegant movement in the world is like a stone sinking to the bottom of the pool. It just goes right there. There's no big hullabaloo about it. I've never been good at joining things. cheering for my team. And I see, God bless them, activists sort of shouting at politicians and writers and journalists. And those journalists callously say, if you're trying to convince somebody you're doing a bad job, well, you're writing propaganda every day that's getting people killed. And you're still self-righteous about that because the people who get fed up enough to shout at you are shouting. They're not elegant. They're not, it's just kind of this raw disgust that's, again, understandable. And it's very human. And for me to say, well, I don't say anything. That's the thing. I don't judge them for doing the best they can. And yet I judge the propagandists. I have something else I have to do. I'll pick this up a bit later. Cheers.